This appears to be the politicization of the Justice Department and our justice system. This Uranium One story has been debunked countless times. This is such an abuse of power, and it goes right at the rule of law.
That was former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton firing back at calls for a special counsel to investigate the Obama-era Uranium One deal. Some Republicans, including President Trump, argued that she engaged in pay-to-play. Bud Cummins is a partner at Avenue Strategies and a former U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Arkansas. Good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Maria.
Should there be a special counsel to look at Uranium One?
I think there's two questions here, Maria. I think the first question is, should there be an investigation of that transaction? The second question is, who should investigate it? So when you ask me, should there be a special counsel appointed, I think it presumes that that's the only way to investigate it. I'm not sure that's right. And frankly, I don't like these special counsels at all. I'm not aware of one that has gone well. They become runaway trains. But should the Uranium One transactions be investigated? You know, tens of millions of dollars traded hands. There's at least one witness that said the people that gave the money were trying to buy influence. I think that's worth a look. The question is, does it merit the sensational process of appointing a special counsel, and does that bring in a level of politics that is not in play when just a U.S. attorney's office or main justice does their job and quietly and goes and takes a look at something and exercises discretion about how far the investigation should go and whether charges should be brought.
So what should be looked at specifically? I mean, we know that the Clinton Foundation received the $145 million from a Kremlin-backed company. We know that she approved the sale of 20% of the uranium of the U.S.'s stockpile. We know that around that time, Bill Clinton was giving speeches in Moscow, getting $500,000, $500,000 price tag there. Are these some of the things that you're referring to, or are there other things that you think are more important to be looked at?
Well, and I believe I've read in the reporting that there's at least one witness that it was connected to an employee of the Russians that believes that they heard conversations that indicated that those contributions were attempts to buy influence. I think the debunking, or the Hillary's supporters want to say this has all been debunked because of the CFIUS process as a committee process, and that's true. It would have been hard for Hillary to drive this through on her own as Secretary of State. But I think there's still a fair question. Why was this money being given? Was there other influence that was being sought? And I think a look into that is merited. $145 million in my neighborhood's a lot of money.
Right.
And that's wonderful if they were trying to give it to a charitable cause. And then it wasn't transparently disclosed. So those I think raise enough questions that a fair and non-political prosecutor would want to take a look.
I mean, people really just want to make sure that there's fairness and there's accountability. I spoke with Trey Gowdy from the Oversight Committee last week, and Congressman Gowdy said, look, we need to make sure that the DOJ is doing their job. Very similar to what you just said, actually. Not sure if it's a special prosecutor, if it's just the DOJ doing their job, but we need the DOJ to do their job. Is the DOJ doing their job? How come we're just hearing about this, look at this now? We've known about this for some time.
Well, when I became a United States Attorney, Attorney General John Ashcroft sat me down in a room with Deputy Attorney General Larry Thompson and just the three of us, and he explained to me that he had studied the history of the Department of Justice, and every time they lost sight of the need to keep the politics out of these decisions, they'd gotten in trouble. So what I think the Department of Justice needs to do, and I think they're doing very effectively, is really not pay a lot of attention to what the congressmen are saying or the senators, not pay a lot of attention to what the White House is saying, and they need to just do their job. Doing their job is to quietly evaluate these facts, make determinations about what merits an investigation, and then conducting that investigation as discreetly as they can until they get to a point where they can make a decision.
Right, because so much conversation about conflicts. You've got Robert Mueller, obviously formerly head of the FBI, now being questioned about conflicts with the FBI. Can he actually, honestly investigate his former colleagues?
You know what? These special counsels, I mean, the fact that you and I know so much about what they're doing, and I think Robert Mueller has a great reputation, and I'm going to suggest to you that we can assume that he's doing as good a job as professionally as can be done. But it's a runaway train. We don't want to launch people and 30 FBI agents and 14 prosecutors on the sole mission of investigating any single person until they find something. That sounds more like Stalin than it does the United States of America, and we've done that many times. And I just think we really need to be careful. When the FBI comes and arrests your brother, your sister, your son, your daughter, your husband, your wife, you want to believe that it's for the right reasons, that there's been a serious violation of the law, not because of some political motivation and that they've stepped on the wrong political toes. So I think we really need to pump the brakes on some of this stuff. Do these transactions merit an investigation? Yes, but we need to get away. There's really, in my opinion, no reason for Bob Mueller's special prosecutor team to even be in place. And I think that they should be evaluating that right now. I'd like to see the Attorney General lift his recusal and shut down that special prosecutor and take that investigation back into the Department of Justice. That's where it ought to be.
Wow. All right. We're all very fair and balanced insights from you, Bud Cummins. Thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Try to be.
We'll see you soon, sir. Thank you. Some GOP lawmakers are still not happy to put their support behind their party's tax plan. Up next, I'll talk to one of the no votes so far. California Congressman Darrell Issa is with me live as we look ahead on Sunday Morning Futures. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Gratify.
Why did she borrow $42,000 for tuition? Why did she borrow $19,400 for room and board?